So Joy Ann Reid from MSNBC, key host on that network, now supports Medicare for All. She said the following on Twitter about an hour ago. She said, "I will admit to being a past Medicare for All skeptic with a lot of questions about what happens to union negotiated PPO plans, though a good friend whose family is a GM family in Flint told me she would far prefer Medicare for All. I can't think of one good reason today to keep the current system." Again, this is a person that in 2016 and 2020 was by and large an anti-Bernie voice on an anti-Bernie network. That whenever she had a platform, she used it largely to attack Bernie Sanders, attack his position, attack his policies, attack his vision for America. That was one of her key roles on MSNBC, and it's something she really relished. Remember, this was a woman that had the body language expert on to confirm that Bernie Sanders was lying and Elizabeth Warren was telling the truth when apparently Bernie said a woman couldn't be president, a woman couldn't defeat Donald Trump in 2020. She's also the person that suggested Bernie Sanders was launching a quote-unquote hostile takeover of the Democratic Party after his victory in Nevada. This is not a pro-Bernie person, so I'm frustrated by this conversion to Medicare for All. On the one hand, you certainly want people on your side. You certainly want to be able to say that more and more folks, especially folks that used to be against you, are now lining up behind your policy, are now lining up behind your ideals. That part of the process of winning political power and implementing your vision is taking people that used to be against you and making them for you. That's how you win more often than not. You need to take people that used to not like Medicare for All and make some of them like Medicare for All. So I'm happy to see that, but I have to wonder if it's genuine, because it seems to me, right now at least, that she knows that progressives are moving in this direction, and she wants to be relevant, culturally relevant in her role as an MSNBC host with the growing progressive movement. And one of the ways to do that is to back policies like Medicare for All, because even though most Democrats voted for Biden, while they did so, they supported Medicare for All in strong numbers. And so Joy Reid might be saying, look, I can support Medicare for All right now without any risk of it actually happening. So I can look progressive, I can look like I'm on the cutting edge, I can look like I'm learning and growing, but in my mind, when I talk to my bosses at MSNBC, when I talk to the rich donor class in the Democratic Party, I can say to them, there's no chance Medicare for All is going to happen under a Joe Biden presidency. Biden has already said that even if Bernie Sanders and the left could marshal it through the House and the Senate, he would veto Medicare for All. So it's not happening. It's not happening with Joe Biden as president. And so it's now safe for people to say, hey, I actually like Medicare for All because it makes me look good and feel good to actually look like a progressive and act like a progressive for once, instead of looking like the sort of person that's telling progressives to sit down and shut up and line up behind the regressive option because we have to stop the even more regressive option. And I think that might be a part of this transformation from Joy Reid here. To be fair to her, however, she might reasonably be one of these people that's being convinced about Medicare for All's validity during this crisis. We've seen support for Medicare for All be strong before March, before February, before the shutdowns, before millions of people lost their jobs and therefore their insurance. We saw that. It was already strong, but it's only grown stronger during the crisis among Democrats and independents. It has grown stronger and stronger. And so there are likely millions of people across America who were skeptical of Medicare for All for whatever reason and are now saying, maybe it's not the worst idea. Maybe the system that Joe Biden supports, certainly the one that exists, but even the one that Joe Biden supports, the hybrid public option, which is still based on the broad assumption that most people will be using their workplace private options and the system will be designed with that assumption in mind, Maybe that system doesn't work. Maybe this crisis has proven that system broken and that we need a new model. We need a new way forward. We need something that won't connect people inexorably between their jobs and their basic healthcare access and the healthcare access of their spouses and children to boot. And so I'm torn on this, and I kind of want to know what you guys think. Because on the one hand, I really fundamentally think Joy Reid is trying to play people here. I think she's trying to say she supports Medicare for all because it's not going to happen. It makes her look good. It helps her maybe bring in more progressive viewers to her show. Maybe people that were like, oh man, she was so rough on Bernie, I'm never going to watch Joy Reid again. But now she's a Medicare for all supporter. Maybe I'll give her show a bit of a peek now and then. Maybe she's doing that. And she knows that it's not going to happen. And who knows, maybe in 4 years, when there is a progressive option being run on Medicare for all by, say, someone like Rashida Tlaib or whoever, maybe she'll switch back again when there actually is a risk of Medicare for all happening. But for now, it might also be the case that this crisis has convinced her, like it's convinced millions of Americans, that neither the status quo nor Joe Biden's half-assed option is nearly enough to protect Americans in terms of their health care and their basic human dignity. Joy, if it's genuine, welcome aboard.